Excadrill continuing to farm up. The opponent tries to make a rockside catch onto Metagross, but the only thing they're catching is that work Shadow Drill Run. Gonna land for huge damage. We then see the aggressive pivot into Poliwrath, getting the counter farm down back out. Comes Togekiss tearing through Poliwrath with the super effective charms at Poliwrath. About to hit them with that Icy Wind. Bang! There it is. Welcome back to the channel. Season 19 gave most PvP players the move update they were looking for. A nerf to the move Scald. Scald used to be a 50% chance to lower the opponent's attack. It's now only a 30% chance. However, we all know Poliwrath and Wish Daddy Cash are still pretty good. Poliwrath is just as popular as it always has been in the Ultra League. It's probably even more popular, ironically, this season in the Great League. But today, we're going to be taking a look at it in the Master League Premier Cup. And we're going to be pairing it up with its shadow partner in crime, Excadrill. These two form a very solid core. Huge shout out to today's battle submitter, Turbo T612. And without any further ado, let's get into the battles. And in game one, we lead Shadow Excadrill into Garchomp. Not a particularly good matchup. Even if the opponent's on Dragon Tail, this is a favourable matchup for Garchomp due to their huge stat product. The opponent's actually on Mudshot and stay in school, kids. Learn to count Turbo, has been to school and makes a savage double resisted Earth Power catch onto Gyarados. Our Gyarados Say Switch is met by Togekiss and it's very nice to bait this thing out. So our Poliwrath isn't going to have to see it in the end game. We land the Aqua Tail. The opponent looks for that full tap, charm down, farm down. But Gyarados is like, nah. I'm going to reach another Aqua Tail, leaving Togekiss on a sliver of HP. We send back out Excadrill, fire off one Mud Shot and the Rock Slide. Rock Slide, force to protect shield. This is going to be a very easy shield for Turbo. Turbo is going to be able to shield up the incoming Aura Spear, commit to the aggressive Mud Shot farm down and leave absolutely loaded. Excadrill leaves it close to 100 energy. Back out comes Garchomp and we go straight for the Drill Run. Shadow Drill Run lands for big damage and we see the pivot into Poliwrath. The opponent has no real response left for Poliwrath as these bullet punches are resisted due to our water typing. We land the Scald. The opponent doesn't commit to the Earthquake. Trainer Meteor Mash simply isn't going to get the job done. Poliwrath withstands the damage. Poliwrath looks for the counter farm down and we get it. We leave with the Icy Wind. This is double super effective damage. This of course will be forced in the opponent's final Protect Shield. The opponent looks for the Mud Shot farm down. Poliwrath says no, reaches Icy Wind number 2 and that is going to be all she wrote. GG's and thanks for playing. Heading into the next battle, we see Excadrill into Togekiss, aka Togepiss. Once again, we see Mudshot Garchomp enter the battlefield. Turbo stays in, fires off the Shadow Drill Run. Shadow Drill Run does so much damage. Turbo once again tries his luck, catching the Earth Power, this time unsuccessfully. The opponent full sends the Outrage, which lands for big damage, but as they're on Mudshot, they simply cannot Mudshot farm us down. Gyarados gets the full Dragon Breath farm down, leaves with residual energy and minimal farm for the returning Togekiss. Turbo fires off the Aqua Tail. Aqua Tail lands for some very solid chip damage, putting this thing very close to Rock Slide range. Turbo has misaligned the switch timer, so he waits out his full clock, sends out Excadrill, and the opponent sends out Waterfall Gary. These Waterfalls tearing for Excadrill. We fire off the Rock Slide, switch timer pops up, and then we send out Poliwrath. It's not uncommon for Waterfall Gyarados to carry Outrage. The opponent at least looking to farm up towards it. Turbo takes the initiative, fires off the Icy Wind, lowering Gyarados' attack. Turbo invests the Protect Shield, shielding up what could have been an Outrage, but the opponent reveals they're only running Crunch. They could be on Crunch and Outrage, but I doubt it. Turbo tanks the next Crunch like an absolute boss, and he's going to fire off the next Icy Wind. Gyarados very quickly finds itself in Icy Wind range. Icy Wind secures the knockout. Back out comes Togekiss. Poliwrath still not done. Fires off one further Icy Wind. The opponent withstands the damage, and now it's all down to Excadrill to clean up. Turbo getting torn apart by these charms despite them being resisted. The first Rock Slide forces the opponent's final protection. Excadrill hangs on, reaches the next Rock Slide, and Turbo is going to emerge victorious. A very, very close game. GG's to both trainers. Heading into the next battle, we lead the Steel Mole into Annihilate. That is such a yikes lead, possibly the worst lead this team could see, as both Excadrill and Poliwrath have a dreadful matchup here. Turbo tanks the Shadow Ball. Holy crap, we near get one shot. However, Turbo able to hang on, fire off the Scald, and Scald really doesn't do too much damage because Poliwrath's stat product isn't all that impressive in this open format. Of course, Turbo can't send back out the Steel Mole as we'd get absolutely wrecked by the counters. So we're forced to reveal our third. The opponent doesn't commit to one further Shadow Ball. So Gyarados is going to be able to get a very nice Dragon Breath farm down, but at the cost of half of our HP. The opponent sends out Metagross into a loaded Gyarados. So things might be looking up. We fire off the first Crunch, forces the Protect Shield, and we get the defense drop. Or at least I think so. I can't understand this language, which I believe is German, but it had some kind of writing. So we're going to say we got the defense drop. We then land the second Crunch. Crunch leaves Metagross on a fraction of HP. We send out Excadrill. Excadrill gets the Mud Shot farm down. The opponent's final Pokemon is Waterfall Gary. Can we pull this off? The first Rock Slide will be forcing the opponent's final Protect Shield. Excadrill we'll be able to reach one further Rock Slide, but I don't think one Rock Slide, especially not getting the same type attack bonus, is going to be lethal, and unfortunately we're going to take a heartbreaking loss. GG's to that opponent. Heading into the next battle. Oh, hello Metagross, nice to see you nice. Our target has been acquired. The opponent say switches into Waterfall Gary, and we respond with our own Gyarados. The opponent doesn't farm up to an Outrage, so I personally wouldn't have shielded this first Crunch, as of course, if the opponent got that 30% chance of lowering our defense, the next Crunch would do more damage. We fire off the Crunch. We're the ones actually that managed to get the defense drop, meaning Gyarados doesn't even have to tank a further move. Out comes Togekiss. Gyarados fires off an Aqua Tail. We're even going to reach one further Aqua Tail, which is going to put Togekiss down to around 20% HP, and this already looks like G to the G. The opponent actually chooses to invest the Protect Shield, get a very nice tap, charm down, farm down. We now send out Excadrill. Turbo fires off. A very nice timing. Rock Slide forces the opponent's final Protect Shield. Of course, Turbo going to be shielding this move up, which is likely a bait. To my surprise, the opponent full send the Flamethrower, then pivot out into Metagross. Metagross not going to appreciate the Drill Run. Drill Run lands for huge damage. We pivot into Poliwrath. The opponent sees our Poliwrath, think, I don't want my Togekiss to die to a fighting type, and they're going to concede the match. Heading into the next battle, we see another Metagross, but this one is Shadow on Shadow Crime. The opponent tries their luck at catching onto Gyarados. Turbo shows cat-like reflexes, responds quick enough, fires off the Rock Slide. Rock Slide lands for big damage, and we then send out Gyarados. Gyarados going to be able to absorb the Crunch, commit to the full Dragon Breath farm down and leave with residual energy good to go. A very, very nice play from Turbo. Out comes Dragonite. Dragonite instantly greeted with the Crunch. Crunch forces the Protect Shield. The opponent is going to get a very nice Dragon Breath farm down. Turbo did bank a Rock Slide on Excadrill. We could send out the Steel Mole, but we would lose CMP. It looks like Turbo is actually going to send out Poliwrath, use it as the damage sponge. The opponent fires off the Dragon Claw. Poliwrath withstands the damage. The opponent able to reach the next Dragon Claw before we get off the Icy Wind. Turbo invests the Protect Shield. The opponent again tries their luck, making a catch. Turbo again, very quick on his reflexes. Sees Metagross coming in, sends back at Excadrill, fires off the Drill Run, forcing the opponent's final Protect Shield. Turbo going to be shielding up the incoming Meteor Mash. He's then going to overfarm before firing off the Drill Run. It's going to be high Metagross, bye Metagross. Get that Metagross off my screen. Back out comes Dragonite. Dragonite looks for the resisted Dragon Breath farm down. Excadrill says no, reaches the Rock Slide and pulls off a very nice sweep. GG's and thanks for playing. And that is going to draw to a close set number 1, where Turbo goes 4-1. Heading into set number 2, another Metagross lead. The opponent say switches into Dragon Breath Gary. Turbo looking for some chip and dip action, fires off the Rock Slide, and then we see the pivot into Gyarados. Gyarados going to be able to easily absorb a Crunch, commit to the Dragon Breath farm down, and I guess the opponent's going to be forced to reveal their third. Or in this case, the opponent's like, nah, you've got me, I'm out of here, and we're going to move swiftly on. In the next battle, we see Excadrill into Dragonite. Look how glassy Shadow Excadrill is. These Dragon Breaths don't look resisted. Turbo fires off the Rock Slide first. Rock Slide goes unshielded. We then see the pivot into Gyarados, and our Gyarados is answered by Excadrill. Excadrill, not really a big fan of Gyarados, even on Dragon Breath. The Shadow variant does so much damage, and Aqua Tail does like 75%. It's pretty absurd. The opponent fires off the Rock Slide. Turbo knows his IVs, knows he hangs on, refuses to shield, and still reaches the second Aqua Tail and manages to force both Protect Shields off the opponent. Turbo then sends in Poliwrath. These counters going to tear through Excadrill, although likewise we're not going to appreciate the Drill Run. The first Drill Run does around 60% of our health. Turbo going to shield up the next Drill Run, look for the full counter farm down, Unfortunately, we're unable to get it as the opponent looks to go for that wham bam combo play, serve up their own Big Mac and the fries. Turbo shields up the superpower. The opponent wisely threw a superpower, as of course they're looking to give us minimal farm. However, their final Pokemon is Metagross. The switch lock, we send that Excadrill, we fire off the drill on Metagross straight in and straight out. We mud shot farm that Excadrill and we take that game. Heading into the next battle, Excadrill into Togekiss, you love to see it. The opponent say switches into Waterfall Gary, and we answer with our own Dragon Breath variant of Gyarados. The opponent running the shiny, which is supposed to do more damage. That's a myth. However, shadow variants do actually do more damage. That certainly is not a myth. Turbo's Gyarados fires off the crunch, rock shiny Gyarados deep into the red. Unfortunately, even though we got the defense drop, we're unable to Dragon Breath farm down before the opponent reaches the departing Aqua Tail. Turbo happy to invest the Protect Shield, knowing he needs to keep alignment as Poliwrath doesn't fancy seeing the work of this annoying fluffy cloud. We fire off the Aqua Tail gets Togekiss essentially into Rock Slide range. Turbo, recognising the opponent is still temporarily switch locked, instantly sends out Excadrill. The opponent continues to stay in, so Turbo takes the initiative, fires off one further Rock Slide, and the opponent has very quickly gone from shield advantage to all shields down. Turbo happy to invest his own final Protect Shield. The opponent fires off the Ancient Power. The opponent tries their luck at making a catch. Again, Turbo shows cat-like reflexes. Turbo, you must have been a cat in a previous life, as there is no fooling you. We fire off the Drill Run, then pivot into Poliwrath. Poliwrath gets the counter farm down, back out, comes Togekiss. Poliwrath might be weak to Fairy, but this Fairy is a flying. They're weak to the Ice type coverage. Ice Wind isn't quite lethal. Poliwrath counter farms down, is a Togekiss counter confirmed, and we take that game. In the next battle, we see Gyarados in the lead. This Gyarados, much like my own, is running Legacy Dragon Tail. A lot of people ask me, do you want to run Legacy Dragon Tail and Gyarados? It does have its advantages, of course, especially if you play a trainer that doesn't know how to time charge moves. You can get some sneaks, which not only do quite a lot of damage, they also give you a whole free turns of energy. Of course, using Dragon Breath, you're only going to get one free turn each time an opponent throws. However, overall, I think the one-turn flexibility of Dragon Breath is advantageous. Not only that, if you play a lot of Master League Premier, keeping yourself on a non-legacy move gives you the option to TM. So depending on team comp, sometimes you want Dragon Breath, sometimes you want Waterfall. If you invest in Elite TM into your Gyarados, like I have, you're kind of stuck on Dragon Tail, as it seems a waste to TM it off. However, we got distracted, so returning to the commentary, Excadrill fires off the Drill Run, secures the knockout. The opponent sends out Rhyperior, instantly going to be giving up that Protect Shield on the Shadow Drill Run. We send out Poliwrath and Trainer, this is over. The opponent fires off the Breaking Swipe. Poliwrath might only be around 3000 CP. However, we're easily able to withstand the damage. I believe that might have actually been a Surf. But regardless, we tank the damage, fire off the Scald, and we take that game. When I say might have been a Surf, it was a Surf, which is quite a surprising moveset, as most Rhyperior do run Breaking Swipe and Rock Wrecker. Heading into the next battle, we see another shiny variant of Gyarados. Turbo fires off the Rock Slide, goes unshielded, and then we enter the Gyarados Mirror. The opponent answers our Gyarados Say Switch with Florges. Very nice to bait this thing out, so Poliwrath isn't going to have to face it in the end game. Of course, Gyarados is operating as a dragon, but of course, we aren't a dragon type, so we're not actually too bad into Florges. We aren't taking super effective, and if the opponent goes for a Disarming Voice, they're going to be forced to throw two moves. They're going to be unable to Fairy Wind farm us down. You can see Gyarados puts in a whole heap of work, getting Florges deep into the red, despite our quick move being double resisted. Turbo now sends in Excadrill, gonna respect the potential Moonblast. The opponent fires off the Disarming Voice bait, but they're unable to reach another move. We see Turbo spamming the switch and making a very nice catch of what should be an Aqua Tail onto Poliwrath. The opponent then pivots out into Ursaluna. Poliwrath smiling away or punching away in a very favourable matchup. Despite the huge difference in CP, we fire off the Icy Wind forces the opponent's first Protect Shield. We see Turbo invest the Protect Shield, blocking up the incoming Thunder Punch. Ursaluna getting torn apart by the counters. Poliwrath reaches Icy Wind number 2. The opponent invest their final Protect Shield, and that pretty much is going to seal the deal. The opponent forced to dump energy. Thunder Punch, of course, easily going to knock out as we're deep in the red. Turbo then farms up to the double charge moves. One Drill Run, will be knocking out Ursaluna, and Rockslide will be vanquishing Gyarados back to their Pokeball. GG's, and thanks for playing. And Turbo is going to chalk up a big fat 5-0. Very, very well played. We've actually got one bonus set of battles where Poliwrath is on the bench and we've got Staraptor making an appearance. We see the Dream Lead, the opponent say switches into Goodra and we respond with Gyarados. Last season this is a pretty favourable matchup, however the opponent now has access to Thunder Punch, which is double super effective damage. We shield up the Thunder Punch, return fire with the Crunch, forcing a Protect Shield in return. Gyarados is now forced to commit 2 Protect Shields in this matchup to maintain alignment. However, that isn't too bad to be honest, as what the hell is Magnezone going to do against our ground type? We actually leave minimal farm for the return in Magnezone. Back out comes Magnezone. Turbo recognising he's only going to reach one move, fires off the Crunch, which does do more damage. We send that Excadrill, out comes Chandelure, and we respond with Staraptor. Staraptor about to be straight in and straight out. Flame Charge easily secures the knockout. Turbo says no thank you, and we're going to move swiftly on. Heading into the next battle, we see the Steel Mole into Mamoswine. Turbo farms up, throws the Drill Run on the CMP tie. I see a lot of trainers throw Rock Slide at Mamoswine. Of course, Ice does take super effective from Rock, however Ground Resist, so Drill Run is the correct move to throw, as it does get same type attack bonus and is better DPE. After exchanging Protect Shields, we see the pivot into Gyarados, and our Gyarados save switch is answered by Dragonite. The opponent tanks the Crunch, the left deep in the red before firing off the Dragon Claw. Dragon Claw isn't quite lethal. Gyarados unable to get the Dragon Breath farm down, however we leave Dragonite very deep in the red. And essentially just free farm for our Excadrill. Excadrill comes in, gets the Mud Shot farm down. The opponent thinking about what they want to send out. Send back up Mamoswine. Turbo not messing around, goes straight for the Drill Run. Drill Run goes unshielded, rocking Mamoswine deep into the red. Turbo happy to invest the final Protect Shield, blocking up the incoming high horsepower. Holy crap, that was overkill. And out comes Metagross. Turbo going to be firing off the Drill Run. This, of course, will be forcing the opponent's final Protect Shield. Turbo then banks a move, attempts to catch a Meteor Mash onto Staraptor unsuccessfully. Turbo fires off the close combat. Is that enough to knock out? No, it's not. The opponent very wisely farms up 2 double Meteor Mash, and this is where things get interesting. You can see the opponent's Metagross is 3,900 and something CP, so it's about level 44 or something. However, if the opponent did have a level 50 Metagross, they'd have a 228 attack, whereas we have a 226 attack. So the opponent played that game perfectly. However, as they're underleveled, they lost CMP and we were able to emerge victorious. However, huge shout out to that opponent for pulling off a very nice end game. Moving on to the next battle. We see the same lead once again. Turbo farms up, fires off the Drill Run on the CMP tie. The last opponent shielded. This opponent actually looks to tank the damage. Turbo gonna respect the Avalanche. Avalanche hits for neutral and a very good move. It's a Side Strike clone and would essentially one-shot us with the residual Powder Snows. Turbo again farms up, fires off the next Drill Run on the CMP tie. The opponent happy to invest a protection, knowing they're either going to win the one shield or force our final. Turbo gives up the final Protect Shield. Are we going to look to snipe with Gary? Yes, we are. The opponent actually saved Mamoswine on a fraction of HP and enter the Gyarados mirror. As we're heading energy, we're able to reach the Crunch first. Crunch goes unshielded. We don't see the defense drop. It's now the opponent's turn to roll the RNG dice. They fire off the Crunch, getting the defense drop. However, the opponent unable to Dragon Breath farm us down before we reach the Aqua Tail. Aqua Tail, to my surprise, forces the opponent's final Protect Shield. We now send out Staraptor. Oh boy, Staraptor not going to appreciate this Aqua Tail. Holy cow, that does a lot of damage. The opponent send back up Mamoswine. Mamoswine gets farmed down. Show me something we can nuke. Come on, Staraptor. Let's go, buddy. No, it's Beware. My dreams have been answered. We fire up the close combat, near one shots. We mud shot farm down. Back out comes Gyarados. Gyarados gets double resisted mud shot farm down. And we take that game. Oh, man. That was a boom and a half. In the next battle, we see a great lead. The opponent save switches into Mudshot Garchomp. We're going to fire off the Shadow Drill Run, which we've already seen does a lot of damage. We know we're going to try and make the catch. We are successful this time, and my god, is this painful for the opponent. So painful that they're actually going to concede the match, and we're going to move swiftly on, heading into the next battle. This time we see Garchomp up in the lead. This one is actually running Dragon Tail. Every other Garchomp we've seen in the video so far has been running Mud Shot. I'm quite surprised with that, to be honest. I personally have run Mud Shot Garchomp, which you're going to see tomorrow. And to be honest, I was the only idiot running Mud Shot. Everyone else I saw was running Dragon Tail. Turbo looks to call a bait. The opponent full send an outrage and then snipe with Mamoswine. Of course, Turbo very happy to see Mamoswine on the battlefield, as Staraptor wants no part of this. Turbo again farms up, throws the drill run on the CMP tie. Today's featured battler, Turbo T612, is actually highly skilled, and I think he is far better than the Elo range is playing in. His fast move timing, game mechanics, counting, etc. are all a lot better than ace rank, especially low ace rank. But it is what it is. He's using some spice. Again, speaking of stuff Turbo does well, the opponent tries to make the catch. Turbo's like, nah. His composure is absolutely on point. Opponents have been trying to catch, and Turbo just holds his energy so well. The opponent sends out Metagross. We farm up to the double close combat. The first one rocks him below half health. The second one vanquishes Metagross. From the battlefield back out comes Mamoswine. We've got the drill run banked, and that is going to be all she wrote, with Turbo ending the video with another very well played game. GG's, and thanks for playing. And that unfortunately is going to draw to a close today's showcase. A huge shout out to today's featured battler for not only bringing some really fun Shadow Spice to the Master League Premier Cup, but also sending in some crisp, clean and composed gameplay. So if you're enjoying the content, smash that like button. If you're new, consider subscribing if you'd like your battles featured on my channel. A link to a battle submission form is down below. And as always, a huge thank you to everyone for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.